Okay, welcome to this video. And in this video, I'm going to start off by saying that I'm going to ask some questions that are going to really hurt. And I want them to hurt, and I want them to dive deeper into the reason behind why you are wanting to achieve what you want to achieve. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of people think about surface level goals and they think about what they'd like to achieve and they think about the ideal, and the ideal is nice, but you have to have a bigger reason. And chances are you have a bigger reason if you're here in the first place. And so, what we're going to do is we're going to establish a deeper meaning behind the goals that you are going to set. I'm going to show you exactly how to set it, and I'm going to make you think. Ideally, I want you to hurt. I want you to find pain because from that pain, we can truly set some real goals that are way away from the surface level of simply wanting to lose weight or getting a little bit fitter or wanting to tone up or whatever other surface level goal that you might have, and really get into the depths of why it's important for you. And so what you'll need for this is you'll need a couple of pieces of paper just to go through, and you'll probably want to ask yourself a couple of questions, and I'll ask you some questions as well on some of these things because, like I said, I want you to really interact with this one. This one's hugely important. If you think about everything else, and if you think about all these different tools and all these things you've tried in the past, all these different diets and all these different training methods, and they're all surface level. It's frankly, it's bullshit. It needs to go deeper, and unfortunately, you need someone that's going to tell you that that's not what you need. What you need at this point is you need pain. You need to use this pain, and you need to use it to drive you forward. If you don't do this, you'll forever be in the cycle that you're currently in now, where you are unhappy with how you feel, which is ultimately affecting everything in your lifestyle, everything from how your intimacy is with your significant other, everything with how your energy level is like at work, everything with how it affects your time with your kids if you've got kids. It affects everything, and it all starts with your personal state. Now, imagine this. If you could feel absolutely fantastic and wake up every morning with a smile and look in the mirror and not feel disgusted, because some people genuinely feel disgusted and they'll hide from that, and you could get away from this and actually get to the point where you feel truly happy and you look in the mirror and you don't have to be a model, you just have to be deeply happy with yourself. And if you can achieve that in however you desire to get there, then you've ultimately won the battle and you've created positive lifestyle change that's going to last you forever. And more importantly, you have educated yourself in a way that's going to be practically applicable from the off. And so if you don't do this, you are going to completely leave yourself a whole host of reasons why you can't do something. You're going to give yourself a million obstacles and you're going to go through this constant cycle of nothing works for me. And unfortunately, you're not that special. It doesn't matter what illness you have. It doesn't matter what your personal circumstances. If you truly want help, you have to start by understanding your pain. You don't want to understand where you'd like to be. Where you'd like to be is the end of the journey. And hopefully what we can do in this video and in this bit of training is get you to truly understand the fact that if you can stop that pain, then you've ultimately won the battle. You've truly achieved a new goal, and you have became happy. You became motivated for the rest of your life. You've set into motion the possibility of positive lifestyle change pretty much forever. And if you've achieved that, no one can take that away from you. It doesn't matter how much money you earn. It doesn't matter how you look. It's about how you feel. But if you can look better in the process, and if you can feel better about yourself in the process, and if you can have that mental fortitude going through the process and then towards the end for the rest of your life, then it's a no-brainer. So, like I said, if you need to pause the video, grab some paper. We're going to go through, we're going to dive in, we're going to ask some pretty deep questions. But before we do that, we need to go through some of the thoughts and the immediate thought process that a lot of people have when it comes to changing their lives, changing their mindset, changing their mood, changing their outward appearance, changing their inward feelings towards themselves. And so we're going to do this right now. So yes, go and grab that pen and paper, take time for yourself. Don't worry about how long this video takes. We will dig down. We need to find pain. You need to use this pain to fuel you. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what common reality looks like for a lot of people, and this may well be yourself as well. And this is the thing that we're going to get you out of as soon as physically possible, not just for the way that you look, but for your mental and physical health in the long term. And if we can change this, then ultimately I've helped you change your life. And that's my goal, that's my intention, that's why I'm here. I want to make people feel eternally happy in who they are, in what they can achieve and how they can achieve it. So here you'll see it's common reality. And so it starts like this, and this will become strangely familiar as I go through it. So you become deeply unhappy, or you have an event coming up and you decide that it's time to set a goal, and you go blindly into this goal. You start using things like a figure that you might have in your head, where you might say, I want to be, for example, a stone lighter. I want to be £2,000 a month richer. I want to be all of these different things. And so you set this goal. And we're going to use the example of weight loss here, because this one's super common. It's common all of the time. It's commonplace. This is one of the reasons why the health and fitness industry, one, is full of lies. It's full of deception. And two, why it's so damn profitable. And this is hugely the case. If it wasn't the case, companies like Slimming World, like SlimFast, like all the other massive multi-million pound, multi-million dollar brands were going to be so prolific, because I want you to fail, because they don't give you this understanding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to really dive into this and really help you out the best that I possibly can, give you the understanding of where you're at now and where you're going wrong. So using weight loss as an example, but this can be pretty much applied to anything. Just imagine it as 4 steps. So you set the goal. Okay, so once you've set the goal, the first thing that pretty much everyone does, specifically when it comes to changing the body, is to just go into hours of exercise. Okay, so they say, I want to achieve X. Well, public opinion, and unfortunately it's completely false, is that you need to, if you want to make change to your body, you need to absolutely hammer yourself into the ground doing something that doesn't suit you, doesn't fit you, doesn't match your lifestyle, doesn't match your activity levels. Currently, it doesn't match your current lifestyle. And they'll do something that's completely different, because what everyone else tells you you need to do is to get on the grind, to get on the hustle, to basically take away all of the things that you like and get into the gym, or buy another DVD, or buy another program. And it's all surface level. It's always surface level. You'll see all the time, guaranteed, if you're on social media quite a lot. And at the time of recording of this is during the coronavirus pandemic, you'll be seeing adverts all of the time for workout at home, do this at home, get fit at home, etc. And it's scratching the surface, but it's not really diving into where you need to be. Okay, and it's totally detracting from the end goal of positive lifestyle change, not just a body change, not just a body transformation. Okay, so once you've done your initial goal setting, you'll go into these hours of exercise where you'll try all these different things, and likely with that is going to come along the whole idea of super strict dieting. And so you'll say something along the lines of, whether this is consciously or subconsciously, I need to punish myself to get results. So immediately you throw everything that you like out of the window, and the first thing that you do is you go and buy a whole load of salad, you buy a whole load of super lean meat, you start preparing meals in advance, 6 meals a day, because that's what they say to do. You need to space your meals out because of your metabolism and all this other bullshit, to be honest, and it's not going to do the job. It's not something that you used to, so why stick to it? Why try and force yourself to have these meals every couple of hours? If you're not a breakfast person and you're making yourself feel bad because you don't have breakfast, but you should apparently have breakfast, you're putting yourself in a mental state that's not going to be conducive to getting results, okay? Because you're changing too much. So the super strict dieting is the next one that comes in, okay? From there, and usually within a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it could be a couple of months, without an education process, without a real understanding of where you're going, it becomes this whole, it's too difficult. Yes, of course it's too difficult. And I'll explain why it's too difficult, because as I've mentioned before, you were in a current state where you were deeply unhappy and you needed to make a change, or you had an event coming up that you needed to make changes for. And again, this doesn't just apply to weight loss. This could apply to business goals. It could be pretty much any goal where you outline this ridiculous plan for yourself and you go into it and you just go all in all of the time. And it's so hard and it's so demanding that once you get past a certain point where you would say, and again, this is a very common thing, I hear this all of the time, well, I got this result, so why can't you follow on with it? I'll ask. Well, I didn't know where to go from there. It's because you went into something too deep and you made too many changes too fast. You didn't understand the changes you were making. You went too extreme, and ultimately it led to a lack of adherence. Now, if you can't adhere to something, then all you've done is you've created yourself a challenge. I hate the term challenge, these 28-day challenges, 8-week challenges, 6-week challenges, 7-day challenges, whatever it might be. Yes, set yourself short goals, but don't give it the name or the label of a challenge. Because if you find something from that that's sustainable for you, you'll always associate that term, that concept of a challenge, as being something short term. It has to be a lifestyle change. And so if you don't do that, automatically there'll be a lack of adherence, and then finally regression. And so you'll see there's that little red cross there where ultimately you've got to the end of the cycle. And so what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to give you this understanding here that if you say nothing works for me, then you're completely wrong. It's just that you've not found the right thing that works for you. And I'm going to give you absolute clarity on all of this as we go through this whole training on your mindset and your goal setting. Okay? So this is the fix, and this is how we achieve positive lifestyle change and how we do it for the long term. And the exact process that I use with people week after week, those who work with me on a high level, those who work with me even, in a large group training capacity, those who ask me for advice in all areas, whether it is business, whether it is related to their nutrition, whether it's related to the health, whether it's related to their well-being, whatever it may be. This is the model that I explained to them. And so I created this diagram that I'm going to show you now. This is what I call the fix. So positive lifestyle change, and how you can use it and how you can repeat it for the rest of your life by giving you a solid understanding. Once you've got the solid understanding, you are pretty much there in having all of the tools. And if you took one thing away from working with myself, no matter how long that period may be, it's understand this model, because the moment you can understand this model, you've got it, you've cracked it, and you know that you can just take this and that's you. You just have to go back through this process, okay? So this is how it changes, and you'll notice it's not a cycle yet. Okay, so again, it always starts with the same thing. It's a case of goal setting, and it could be, I want to do X, I want to achieve X, I have this event coming up, things need to happen in that point. So I want to achieve X. From there, what we need to do is create a structure. Okay, so structure creation is hugely important. Why structure creation is hugely important is because it means that you have something that you can follow along with, that you can tick off mentally and physically, which I'm going to give you in the future. You're going to have an entire process that you can go through that you've created for yourself that suits your lifestyle, that ultimately means that it is sustainable forever. Okay, so we need to reverse engineer the goal. And if we don't reverse engineer the goal, then it's all well and good saying, for example, with weight loss, that we want to lose 1-2 stone, but in reality, all we've done is we've set an unreachable benchmark by not understanding how we can reverse engineer it, which we'll go through very shortly. So from there, again, using nutrition and your weight loss as a whole, or even weight gain in some circumstances, okay, should split down in this way. It should not be the case of training and super hard dieting, okay, without an understanding of the mindset behind things. And again, this is why we're going through the mindset first. Before we do anything else, we need to understand our whys. Okay, so with our nutrition, okay, it should be simple and easy to follow and progressive. If it's a plan, if I produced for you an Excel spreadsheet or some other fancy document, or put you on an app and said, here's the plan, you can follow along with it, you've learned nothing from it. So it needs to be something that's simple, it needs to be something that's easy to follow, and it needs to be progressive, which means you need to be an adult about it. You need to metaphorically grab life by the balls and understand that you need to make changes with your nutrition, but it needs to suit you. From there, you need to understand that training, okay, so working out, I prefer training because you're training with intent, you're training with purpose to achieve a goal. Okay, it's a tool, it's not a mechanism. What I mean by that is training is just part of the parcel, and if you look here, you've got three things. So that's 33.33%. Okay, so some people say nutrition's 80% of it and training's 20% or whatever it may be. Again, we're talking about weight loss here, but these could be replaced with anything. Okay, it's a bigger part, but only in the sense that you have to have a training regime that fits you. Okay, so it's a tool, it's not a mechanism, and we'll go through this as you go through this training. And then finally, we need to go through the mindset part, which is the key. Like I said before, I'm going to ask some deep questions. I'm going to ask some things that most people wouldn't have asked you before, and I'll probably ask you these beforehand because I want to know where your pain is at. Okay, so you need to know your whys, your how, and your what ifs. Okay, and we'll discuss this more shortly. From there, this is going to deliver results, not the result, but a result. And through the creation of a structure and reverse engineering the goal, we can use this to set short, medium, and long-term goals. And then from there, once we've achieved a result, we get learning points. So the learning points will tell us, well, this worked well for me, this didn't work well for me, I really like this, I used this as a tool, this was my favorite thing, and you can enhance it. Rather than get rid of it and try something different, enhance what you've got, enhance what you've learned from, enhance the thing that gives you the results. So again, it's not about trying this, doing this challenge, then from there moving on to something else. It's about finding something that's sustainable, that allows you to create positive lifestyle change. So once we've got our learning points from this, we then ask what's next, and we go back to goal setting. And whether this could be the case that you set yourself a long-term goal and broke it down into 1, 2, 3 month blocks, whatever it may be. Ideally, the shorter the better, where we can work from month to month and also break down the weeks week by week and then ultimately day by day by having a means to track all of this. We can go through the cycle indefinitely. And what this will allow you to do is understand that it's not about chasing an end goal. It's about going through a process. It's about having a structure. It's about our understanding of nutrition and that the fact that it should be simple, easy to follow and progressive. That our training is a tool, not a mechanism, and that our mindset's hugely important by asking yourself, what's your why for doing it? How are you going to do it? And what if you don't do it? And this will produce a result. You learn from that result, then you reset a new goal. So this is the model broken down a little bit more, specifically with regards to your mindset, because as I said before we get into doing exercise and before we get into nutrition, etc., we need to know why. And so from the training before, if you want to go backwards and if you want to make some notes on that, absolutely please do. This one, you will need to pause the video at prominent points, write down the question, and then after that, you'll have some answers. And as we go further into it as well, there will be a sheet that you can complete yourself, which I'll explain a bit more in more depth. So using this one, so we've used that model beforehand. So I want to achieve X, and this is leading straight into our mindset. So why? Why do we want to achieve it? And like I said before, it's about your pain, not just your problems. So when I say pain, what I mean by that is, like I said before, you might want to lose this weight, you might want to do this, you might want to tone up, whatever it may be. Okay, this is your problem, this is where you'd like to be, but what's your pain? What's your reason behind it? And so here's some examples. So it's no good just wanting to just lose some weight or tone up. Okay, these are problems, but what drives you? So things like, I don't like how I look in my summer clothes. My sex life is being affected. I have no energy for the kids. And you can find loads of these reasons. You just have to sit and search. So this is the first thing you can do. You can pause the video, write this question down. Why do you want to achieve the goal? And what's your pain? And write down some of these. From there, we need the hows. So your tools to create the mechanism. And I'll run through some examples here. So I mentioned before, you have 3 key tools to pretty much achieve anything. But let's say, for example, it's not related to weight loss or weight gain or change in body composition or all of these other things. It could be related to business. It could be related to life as a whole. Okay, so using exercise and weight loss as an example. So as I said before, exercise is just 33% of the mechanism. And always remember that your mood, your drive, and your work ethic dictates the outcome. So keep it stupidly simple, manageable, and something that you enjoy. Okay, if you don't enjoy it, how are you supposed to stick to it? How are you supposed to make lifestyle changes from it? So like I said before, when it comes to the nutrition aspect, be an adult about it. You shouldn't be following a plan blindly. You shouldn't be asking someone for how many of this should I have, how much of this should I have. You should have a tool, and from that tool, you use it to create your own change. Because as I said before, if you get given something blindly, if you follow a plan blindly, if you create a challenge for yourself, or if you follow a challenge blindly, where's the sustainability from it? You'll always associate it with being something short term. And then finally, it's what if you don't? So who else aside from yourself will it affect if you don't achieve this? And so this isn't a question that people get asked a lot, but I'll say this again. So who else aside from yourself will it affect if you don't achieve it? And you might think, well, what's my, for example, weight loss got to do with someone else? Well, we'll dive into that a little bit more here. So this is outside of yourself, and who are you letting down if you don't achieve your goal? And then some examples. So your children who you can't give your full attention to because you're always tired, stressed, and angry, because you don't have an outlet, because you are always tired, always stressed, you always have no energy, and you don't have a means to vent all of this. You don't have a means to progress yourself. You don't have a way to make yourself feel good. The next one, so your partner, is it affecting your intimacy? Again, you might think, no, he likes me the way that I am, or she likes me the way that I am, whatever it may be. But go a little bit deeper. If you feel bad about yourself, you're not going to be able to give to that person in the same way. You're going to feel uncomfortable when you go on holiday. You're going to feel uncomfortable when it's at summertime. You're going to use this as an excuse to cover up the person that you really are and who you really want to be. And this is hugely important because, like I said before, if you can wake up every morning and look in the mirror and be deeply happy with who you are, regardless of how you look, but just how you feel about yourself, then you've completely changed the mindset. You've made a positive lifestyle change from it. And then finally, as an example here, so your job. So because of the effect of your current situation now, how is it affecting the way that you perform? Now, you might not be someone who's self-employed, but you might have a position where you have targets to achieve. You might work in a position where you have goals that have to be set for you that you have to follow through with. And if, again, you are stressed, tired, and angry, you don't have a way to vent, you feel unhappy when you're at home, your personal life's being affected, that's going to affect the way that you earn the money that you need to live. It's going to affect the way that you like your job, the way that you enjoy your lifestyle as a whole, because work is hugely important. For a lot of people, that can be 40 plus hours. For some people, it's less. For some people, it could be 100 hours a week. You could have, multiple businesses. And if you are negatively affected by how you feel about yourself, then that pain is going to affect your job and how you can perform. And so external motivation massively fuels your inner motivation. So if you have all these external reasons for doing something, so who else aside from yourself will it affect if you don't achieve it? Then you'll have inner motivation from it too, because you have these other people and these other things that are relying on you to achieve this result, which is going to give you that inner motivation aside from, I want to lose weight, I want to tone up, I want to feel fitter, I want to reduce my back pain, all of this sort of stuff. These are just the minutiae. You need to think bigger. How important is it for you to achieve this goal? And if you don't have a real reason to it, you will not stick to any journey, regardless of how easy or how simple it is, or how complex it is, or how in-depth it is. You could literally have someone slapping food out of your mouth if you're someone who likes to eat a lot and you find that you struggle with that eating because you don't have a deeper reason to not eat the things that you want to eat. If you don't have an understanding behind all of this, you're just going to go in the same cycle over and over again. So this sheet you'll be able to download, but you can also just draw this out and do it yourself. So what I like people to do is I want you to insert 3 primary goals, and they don't always have to be related to, weight loss, weight gain, changing body composition. It could be anything. And then from here, you're going to use the framework from the previous one, and you're going to map out 9 reasons why you want to achieve them. Okay? So you want to then map out 9 ways on how you can achieve them and 9 people who it affects if you don't achieve them. And you can break this down in a few ways. Let's say your goal specifically is weight loss. You could have goal 1. Okay, so that's my end goal. Goal 2, I'd like to achieve this by this. Goal 3, it could be something completely long term. I want to be in this position where I'm completely changed and I never have to worry about what I'm doing ever again. Then we go through, okay, why is it important? Well, going through the weight loss thing, why is it important for me to lose weight? well, it's more important that I lose weight, not just for myself, but also for my health, for my energy, for my kids. It could be for how I feel with my partner. It could be how I perform at work, etc. And you just have to put down 9 reasons. There's no reason why you can't find 9 at all. It's just that you're not spending enough time on it. So spend time on it. This is more important than all of the other stuff. Everything else is a tool, okay? But you need to understand the entire reason behind doing it in the first place, and that'll allow you to adhere to whatever's thrown at you, and it'll create a more positive mindset and a more positive understanding of why you need to do it. Next, from there, you're going to write down how you're going to do it. Well, am I going to exercise a few times a week? Am I going to do this? Am I going to follow this? And you don't have to worry too much. You can put down what you think you need, and as we go through all of this training over the coming days, however you choose to go through it, then you will realize that actually some of these hows are not important and some of them really are. And then you can find your 3 reasons on how you can do it and what suits you specifically. And then finally, you're going to write down 9 reasons of what happens if you don't. So who is going to be affected? What's going to be affected? How is it going to make you feel if you don't achieve it? And again, this is going to solidify the reasons beforehand. So yes, you have these reasons why you want to do it. You have an understanding of how you're going to do it, or a brief understanding, but then you also have an understanding of what it affects and what it impacts if you don't achieve it. Because if you have that final part where you understand what happens if you don't achieve it, then that'll drive you more than looking at the scales, than looking at some measurements, than looking at your bank account or whatever it may be. So hugely important on this one. And then finally, let's give you an example of reverse engineering a goal. And we're going to do this as a weight loss example. One, because it's easy to do, but you can apply this for pretty much anything. And we use it as a bit of a timeline. Okay, so here's your timeline here. We're going to use this as a month. Okay, and the reason why I like a month, yes, you're probably going to be on programs for different durations, but a month is a good time. It breaks down nicely into something that gives you something tangible to work towards. It's not too long that it becomes crazy, and it's not too short that it becomes like a flash in the pan. So here's now where you are, okay, and here's 1 month time on the right hand side. Okay, and in the middle, we're going to break it down into weeks. Weeks are a nice thing to do because when you think about it, you don't have to push for 30, 31 days, you have to push for 7 days. 7 days is pretty easy to do. As long as you can stick to something for 7 days, you get to the end, you're like, actually, that's not that bad. I'll do it for another 7 days. And you repeat that process over and over again. And so here's some examples, and this is definitely something that you can achieve following this system if you're someone who needs to lose weight in entirety. In fact, I'll give you all of the tools. I'll give you the entire mechanism. I just want you to put in the groundwork beforehand by going through this training. There's no reason why at the end of your month you couldn't be anywhere between 10 and 20 pounds down in weight loss whatsoever. There is no excuse. Don't think of barriers. Don't think of, well, they say I should do this, or in the past I've done this. That's in the past. That's not here. This isn't now. We need to think positive. If you think about it this way, if you're aiming for space, but you only reach the clouds, you still left the ground. Okay, so if you had this end goal of 20 pounds of weight loss, you could reverse engineer it. So by the 2-week point, I need to have lost this. How am I going to do this? Break it down week by week. Well, I know I need to do this every day in order to achieve this goal. And if I do this, then I have a reason to go on each day. I can tick things off, and you're going to be given something which is going to allow you to tick off day by day everything you need to do to achieve this as an example. So literally every day you will get given the ultimate dummy's guide, so to speak, to achieve all of this. There is no reason why you cannot achieve this. Some people achieve this much faster. As an example, I had someone message me the other day who lost 13 pounds in a week. You might think, well, that's crazy, it's unsustainable. It's not. It's just a different method, and it goes deeper than thinking about the scales. It goes down to things like digestive health, gut health, hormones, sleep, energy levels, performance as a whole, happiness. The happier you are, the less stressed you are, the more your body's going to relax into a process. So hugely important. You can't limit yourself by what's happened in the past or what someone else has told you. You need to limit yourself only by your goals. And once you've hit those goals, don't be afraid to go further. So, like I mentioned before, this is where you're at now. You're confused, lost, tired, stressed, and fed up. You've tried everything in the past, regardless of whether it is weight loss, fitness related, etc. It could be business related, it could be personal related, it could be anything. You are in a situation where you've got this element of confusion. You're lost, you've tried everything, you're tired. You're tired of trying all these different things and feeling like nothing's going to work for you. You're stressed because the situation that you're in right now has brought you to here, and you are likely going to be super confused with everything that I'm saying, but I'll give you absolute clarity on all of it. Then finally, you're going to be fed up. You feel like, no, this isn't going to work, but trust me, okay? You've invested in the program. Follow along with everything that I say. I'm giving you all of the tools, the steps, the strategies, all of the things to create your own mechanism to achieve it. And then as we break it down month by month, week by week, okay, you're going to be a different person. And so this is it in entirety. This is the first part of goal setting. So like I said before, what I need you to do is go ahead, answer all those questions from beforehand, really find the pains and the reasons behind why you're doing something. Like I said before, it's not about, for example, if it's weight loss, it's not about, I want to lose this because I want to look a little bit better. It's who is it affecting? How are you going to achieve it? Go a little bit deeper. Think a little bit further into things. Think like an adult. Find the things that are going to work for you, and I'm going to give you all the tools, like I said before, that are going to help with this massively. Okay, so I look forward to speaking to you in the next video.